Hey everybody, Marcos Villegas here, being joined with Freddie Roach. And Freddie, first off, I want to talk to you a little bit about Miguel Cotto's last fight. I've told a lot of people, like, wow, what bad luck for that to happen in the fight, where it seemed at that point he started building momentum and he could have been on his way to potentially beating Saddam Ali. What'd you make of what happened and overall of the night, that being his last fight?
You know, I'm not mad at it. Well, he fought a good fight. I mean, the injury he didn't tell me about until the fight was over.
So wait, you had no idea?
No.
Wait, so he just kind of bluffed his way through the entire fight? Didn't even mention that his arm or bicep was all messed up?
No.
Did you have an inkling that something was wrong?
He told me my forearm sore, and I looked at his forearm, and I didn't go any further, and it looked fine. But then later on I went to the bicep, and then I said, oh, geez. I said, it was terrible. I don't know how he finished the fight like that. It was a very painful injury from what I'm told, but he did well, you know, and it was a good promotion. You know, the tribute they did before the fight, the one they did after the fight, it was a good night to say goodbye. You know, I really, he's had a great career. He doesn't have to come back for anything now, and you know, he'll probably promote. I think we have 2 world champions right now, and I train both of them, so I'm very happy to be involved with it, with that. But I think that will keep him away from boxing. Maybe trying to make a comeback or something like that, because he'll be around boxing a lot as a promoter, I feel.
Did it bother him that he lost in his last fight? I would imagine any loss bothers you, but this was his last fight. How was he after?
I mean, we all wanted to go out with a win. I mean, that was. Not too many people get to do that, and most people retire after the fact. You know, but the thing is, but you know, he's had a great career, 17 years. He's done everything that he needs to do to prove. He doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. He saved his money. He has a nice family. He's going to spend more time with them, and you know, he's just a really nice guy and so forth. And I don't think we'll see him in the ring again, because I mean, this choice was set in stone, and he wants to spend more time with his family and be a better father or dad. You know, so I thought the night worked out fine. I mean, it was a great farewell. I would have liked to have won the fight, yes, but what are you gonna do?
It's just crazy to think that he went 5 more rounds with a ripped bicep, and then you see what happened in the Lomachenko-Rigondeaux fight, where he says that he broke his hand, and we find out that it was just a contusion. His hand wasn't broken, and he stops fighting. What'd you make of all that?
Well, you see, if my hand's broken and he's going like that, well, how can you move it? But you know, I was a little disappointed because you know, I did train him for a little while, and he's a friend of mine, and he promised me he would win that fight by knockout. But he was just in over his head a little bit. He's just too small and maybe a little bit too old, and I think it might be over. I think his career might be to an end. And
well, after that, there's been a lot of backlash because of that, you know?
Sure.
Because he talked so much on Twitter, yes, and made such a big deal on social media about the fight, and then that happens.
Doesn't show up, yeah. But you know, he was in there with a very talented guy, though. I mean, the guy is talented. He has you know, great hand speed, good foot speed. He's going to be tough to beat for anyone out there, and I look forward to seeing him fighting again. I think I'm a fan again.
I'm curious, Freddie. Did you ever fight with a broken hand at all? Or something close to that? Like, how, I just trying to get in, like, if he did, we know he didn't, but to kind of put myself, like, fighting with an injury, how bad it is.
It's bad. I tore my ligaments and tendon and broke the capsule in my right hand in the 2nd round of a fight, and I won a 10-round decision. And like, fighting like that was really, really difficult, but I had to use it because the guy kept coming at me, and I couldn't just fight one-handed. I had to use both hands, and every time I hit that person, it hurt me more than it hurt him, I think, at that time. But you know, I was a young guy coming up at the time, and the winner was getting a world title fight, so I did everything I could to win that fight. I mean, I used it over and over again. I probably made it worse than it was, but that's the life of a fighter in my mind. But there's no quitting real fighters. I don't know. Yeah, that's why I say boxing's a little bit better than maybe UFC and so forth, because they're allowed to quit, and we're not. And we'll never, if we do quit once, we'll never be on TV again. I mean, his fights are a little bit boring to begin with, and then with him quitting,
that's a big, there's a lot of fans are super they don't even want to see Rigondeaux even mentioned anymore. Because of that.
I think it might be over. Yes.
Switching to Manny. Have you heard any news? Because I know this Conor stuff was mentioned. Arum spoke about it to everybody.
There's a lot of rumors out there and so forth, but I haven't heard from anybody. And I'm just laying low right now, just waiting to see what happens. I mean, because I know Arum does have a couple more fights left with us, and I know that that one fighter maybe in China, they're saying, and Manny did some type of deal over there for building some boxing gyms, and that part of, hopefully he built some good ones over there.
You think there's an opportunity that it does happen?
There's a couple more. I do predict that Manny will fight again, and he will fight maybe a couple more fights, and we're close to the end, but we're not there yet. And there's a couple of fights that I would like him in, of course.
But not Conor. You wouldn't like that fight, or you would like that fight?
No. I mean, it's a very tough fight. It's going into different generations. You have a 22-year-old kid and a 39-year-old guy. It's very difficult. Not that fight could happen though, because I know Bob wants it, and he wants to make a star out of the other person. And
no, I'm talking about Conor. Do you think that can happen? Is it realistic?
Oh,
I think you're thinking I was talking about Crawford or Lomachenko. Yeah, no, Conor.
Conor.
Do you want to see that fight, or you're like, nah, I'd rather not?
Well, Manny always told me he doesn't like that sport because it's more like a street fight, and but it's a very winnable fight, and there's a lot of money in that fight, but it's kind of like ripping off the world.
It wouldn't be a fair fight then.
It wouldn't be a fair fight, because unless Manny fight by their rules too, I mean, that would make it a fair fight. But the thing is, if you're gonna do boxing rules, the boxer's gonna win 99.5% of the time, and I don't think it's much of a fight. I'm not a big fan of him. He's not that great a boxer, in my mind, and I think we all saw that.
Lomachenko mentioned a year ago that he would be interested in fighting Manny. Now, he hasn't said it recently, but because of this win and how he's dominating people, would that be something that you guys would entertain? I know Manny would have to cut to 140 probably, and I don't know how he feels about that, but what do you make about that potential fight?
I like that fight. Yeah. I think that's one of the fights I would like to see Manny in, at 140, because Manny will be a better fighter at 40 than 47. I mean, Manny walks around at 38. He struggles to get to 47 for those bigger fights. But I would love to see Manny fight this guy. Give us one last hurrah, and I mean, it'd be obviously a very, very difficult fight. Very young, explosive guy, and so forth. But I think if I get Manny to get out of the center for a little while and get some time to really bear down and train hard for this fight, I think it's a great fight.
Is he what they say he is in terms of how great already Lomachenko? Arum's saying he's the best fighter he's seen ever in his life. People are saying that Lomachenko's like this chosen one, like he's the best guy they've ever seen ever.
He hasn't surpassed Manny's career, Manny's run when Manny was knocking everyone dead yet. I mean, he still has some big fights to prove and some better opponents to prove that against, and so forth. Because when Manny was on his run, Manny was knocking out everybody at that time, and he had a lot better opponents than they're fighting right now. This guy needs to step up a little bit if he wants to be found the best fighter in the world. I think he has to step up and fight better opponents, because let's face it, Rigondeaux is just a 22-pounder, and he beat up a little guy, and it wasn't too hard for him. And Rigondeaux is a great fighter, yes, but the thing is, he is a little guy too. He's a 22-pounder at most.
All All right, Freddie. Well, it's always great getting your analysis and your thoughts on all this stuff that's going on in boxing. Good luck with this Hesta fight. It should be a good fight.
Should be a good fight. What about can Linares fight
Manny or Linares fight who? Lomachenko? I know that was.
No, Lomachenko fight the guy from. Where's he from?
Which one? Which one? Which one? Garcia? Mikey?
No. Who's the?
Who you talking about here?
The pound for pound best fighter in the world today.
Crawford.
Crawford.
Can Lomachenko fight Crawford?
Yeah.
I think Lomachenko might be a little too small for Terrence. Now that Terrence is going to welterweight.
Yeah, but for the big fights, though, he can still go to 40, I think.
He probably could. If you put 10 million out in front of him, he's going to cut.
I think he's going to 47 because I think he wants Pacquiao.
Well, yeah, they have rumored that. Arum has said that he wants to fight him.
Arum wants that fight. He wants to use Manny as a stepping stone. But, I'm not really mad at that, though, because like at one time, Barrera was used as a stepping stone also for Manny, But, I mean, we didn't all know it was going to go that way.
We never in a million years would have thought Manny would have turned out the way he did.
No.
That's like lightning in a bottle. That only happens like once, like ever.
Yeah, but the thing is, can Lomachenko be that explosive and beat those bigger, stronger guys? Because Manny went from 122 all the way to 154. I mean, and he beat all those guys.
That's a good point you bring up.
So he's not near Manny. He's not as good as Manny yet. Tell Bob to shut up.
And we'll leave it as that. Freddie, as always, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Here in Los Angeles, Freddie Roach speaking about Lomachenko, Rigondeaux, Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford, and many other fighters. He has a fight coming up January in Inglewood at the Forum. His fighter, Mercito Gesta, taking on Jorge Linares.